This video will show you how to set up the Blackmagic Pocket from the Kitroom. Firstly, take the 15mm rods out of your backpack and attach it to your tripod. The plate will already be attached to your rails. Now take your camera body out of your bag and attach this using the Tilta shoulder mount camera plate. This plate drops onto your rails and tightens using this screw. As we've updated the system, we are now using an NPF to Blackmagic 4K converter plate to power the Pocket. This should give you around 4 to 5 hours of battery life when fully charged. The Blackmagic's DC connection is a 2-pin LEMO with a guide groove. Match these carefully and attach the cable. When taking this out of your camera, you must gently pull back on the connector to unlock this from the mount. To power the camera, grab an NPF battery from your bag. Match the connections and slide it in to supply power. A green LED signifies power as being sent from the plate. This is the basic setup for tripod use. Now let's look at how you configure your battery for use with the shoulder mount. Grab your Tilta universal hand grips and attach them to the front of your 15mm rods. Use this screw to lock them in place. Now remove the battery and plate from the back of your camera rig. Now, slide in the back of your shoulder mount and lock it in place. You can change the offset and position of your rig using these two extensions. Always make sure your rig is built so you're as comfortable as possible when operating. Now attach the battery plate to the 15mm rods near the weight of your camera rig. This will allow you easy viewing of the camera's screen. Reattach the LEMO connection and add a battery to your plate. The Pocket 4K comes with a Metabones Speedbooster attached. To mount an EF lens to this, match the red dot on the lens to the dot on the mount and turn clockwise to lock it into place. Now attach the Tilta follow focus. To do this, slide it onto the 15mm rods at the front of your rig. Use the screw at the side to lock it into the rig, and the screw underneath to adjust it to fit it to your lens. This camera can record either onto an SD card or a CFast card. Either media can be found inside the back right of your camera body. To turn on your camera, use this button. The first thing to set up is your codec and resolution settings. Hit this button to open the menu. This camera can either record in Blackmagic's compressed RAW or into ProRes. As an institution, we recommend shooting ProRes. This section allows you to change your RAW compression ratio. This section allows you to change your RAW resolution. Remember, if you're choosing to record in RAW, your camera will crop the sensor unless you shoot in its full sensor width. In this case, 4K DCI. When shooting in ProRes, you can choose between 4 different flavors. ProRes HQ and 422 both shoot in 10 bits per channel, with HQ having the highest data rate. While LT and Proxy capture in 8 bits per channel and are mainly used as a proxy transcoding codec. ProRes HQ is the recommended capturing codec. The next page over allows you to change your dynamic range settings. The Pocket has 3 options available. Video, which records straight into Rec 709. This is not recommended to be used as a capturing space, as you will not have much room to manipulate the look of your footage in post-production. Film. This means you will be capturing your footage in this camera's widest colour space. Using this setting is recommended as you will capture the largest amount of colour information and dynamic range possible. And extended video. This is an in-between space, allowing you more room to manipulate your footage in post, but not the widest space possible. Here, you can also set up your project's frame rate. This should be the agreed frame rate you wish to edit in for your production. This page also allows you to turn on and off-speed recording. Remember, off-speed recording will always conform to your chosen project's frame rate. You can also window the sensor, which will crop your image. In doing this, you can increase the total amount of frames per second that you may capture. The next page over now allows you to set up a time-lapse if desired. Now let's walk around the monitor of the Pocket to better understand the quick access menu. Tapping this allows you to adjust your frame and exposure guides. These include zebras, focus peaking, aspect ratio guides, frame guides, safe area guides, and false color. This allows you to quickly change your camera's frame rate or select off-speed recording. This can be quickly toggled using the high frame rate button. This shows your current shutter speed settings. These can also be adjusted using the S button on your camera body. If using an electronic lens, this would display your iris value. As this kit comes supplied with primes, a manual adjustment will be required. Touching this will change your timecode's display. Touching here allows you to change your camera's ISO setting. The Blackmagic Pocket has a dual ISO sensor, which means it operates best at 400 ISO in high key environments, and can be used at 3200 ISO when shooting at lower light levels. Each setting reproduces a similar level of picture quality and dynamic range. This can also be adjusted using this button. To change your camera's white balance, tap the Kelvin range at the top right of your camera. Here you can change through a number of presets, as well as being able to set up an independent Kelvin or tint value. You can also use this button to set an auto white balance from a white card. You can also bring up this menu by clicking this button on the camera body. To adjust your camera's metadata, swipe left on the screen. This shows your camera's battery level. This displays a histogram of your current frame. Hitting this starts your camera's recording. There are two other record buttons located on the front of your camera body. Touch your cards indicator to bring up the media menu. Your currently selected media is highlighted in blue. From this menu, you can wipe and reset your media. The bottom right of your LCD shows your audio channels. Touch this to adjust the gain of each channel and your headphone volume. On the left-hand side of the camera, you can find a headphone input for monitoring your audio, as well as a mini jack for attaching an onboard microphone, a full-size HDMI port, a DC input, a USB-C output for recording to an external drive, and a mini XLR input. The rest of your audio settings can be found in the Audio tab. This allows you to change the source of your channel's input. This displays your channel's audio levels. This allows you to adjust the gain of each channel. On the next page, you can adjust your headphone and speaker volume. This allows you to send phantom power to your mini XLR input. This allows you to change your audio level's display type. Now let's look through the monitor page. This page allows you to adjust your display settings for what's showing on your LCD or HDMI output. This allows you to turn on and off the parameter that you wish to see. When selecting both, you can adjust the style of these overlays to your preference. Now, let's look at the Setup tab. Here, you can adjust your preferred shutter display setting, as well as change your camera's frequency to match the lighting conditions of where you're shooting. The UK is a standard, works at 50 Hz. The next page allows you to set up your function button settings. This allows you to change between each button. These function buttons are located here at the top of your camera body. If this is set to toggle, you can choose a parameter here and where this is displayed, either on your LCD or through your HDMI. If set to preset, you can adjust the setting here and its parameter value here. The presets page allows you to save the camera's settings and load them in from your media. The LUTs page allows you to select your desired monitoring LUT. The camera has some inbuilt preset LUTs which you can choose from. You can also load in your own LUTs from your media drive using this button. Finally, let's look through the setup page. This button recalibrates the motion sensor on your Blackmagic Pocket. This button remaps the pixels of your sensor. This will get rid of any hot pixels on your sensor if they occur over time. When you are finished with your camera and are ready to return it to the kit room, format the cards and hit this button to reset your camera to factory defaults. For any questions about this item, or any from our store, contact the kit room.